Hi, this is Cheryl Lynn, and today I would like to share with you a little bit about myself, and I also want to share why I decided to retire when I did, which was at the age of 62. 62 is kind of young, but I did contemplate it and made the decision that it was time for me to completely retire. I mean, I had partially retired already, but I decided to completely retire at 62. And so a little bit about me. I am 63 years old now, so I've been retired for a little over a year. And I have 2 grown boys and 2 grandsons, 3 granddogs, which I also take care of in some ways, and 2 cats at home. And I also have my boyfriend who lives with me, or my significant other, or, whatever you'd like to call him. He doesn't really care. I am a retired elementary and special education teacher. During the time that I was teaching elementary school for 29 years, I taught 2nd grade, I taught 5th grade, I spent some time as a librarian, I taught a little bit of technology, and then the last 5 years I ended up teaching special education. I got a little taste of it when I was asked to work in the classroom for a while, and I decided that's how I wanted to finish my career, and it was probably the best decision of my career that I had ever made. It was the most rewarding and the most challenging job I had ever done. So anyway, 29 years in education, and I decided to retire after I got my 81. I am in Kansas, or 85 number, which in Kansas, when your years of experience and your age total up to 85, you can retire with full benefits. So that's what I decided to do. And then I didn't work for about a year, and then I decided to go back and work part-time, and I ended up working at a bank as a teller. Had always been curious about a teller job, even as I was, growing up old enough to be working. I had friends who worked as bank tellers, and I was always curious about that job. So when I saw it listed, I applied and I got the job, and I actually, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work too, but it was a lot of fun. So I finally retired from that. I also am divorced twice, which I'm not proud to admit. Some things I like to do are, I love to travel. I have a lot more traveling I'd like to do, hopefully, God providing that I'll be able to do that. Anywhere, exploring new places. And I crochet, I read, I walk, I like to cook and bake, especially for my family and my friends. And I like to spend time with my family and friends, and that probably is the thing that I enjoy the most. I'm happiest when they're all around. So that's a little bit about me, and I would like to learn about you too, so feel free to comment, and hopefully we can get to know each other a little bit. People seem to want to know why I decided to retire at 62. That's pretty young to retire, especially since 65 is when you get your full benefits with Social Security. But there are many reasons that I decided to retire at that age, and I came up with 10 of them to share with you today. They are as follows, and in no special order. I didn't list them. This is the most important reason. This is the next, although my first one that I have listed is my main reason. And my main reason for making the decision to retire when I did is because I wanted to be able to spend more time with my sons, who are grown now, and, don't live in the same town as me, and my grandchildren, and my friends, and my parents. So my sons live out of town, and even though I have been an active part of their lives and their children's lives, I wanted to be able to do it more. My youngest son was having a baby, and he lived several hours away, and I wanted to be able to spend as much time as I could getting to know that grandchild too, even though he lived farther away. So retiring allowed me to be able to go there and visit and stay at least a week and help them out and get to know my grandbaby. And it has worked because he actually was here for Christmas this year. And actually, anytime that I see him, he knows who I am. And that makes my heart happy that he knows who I am, which is what my goal was. I wanted him to know me so that he always knew he had another adult in his life and a safe place to land if he ever needed it. And that's my goal as a grandma, to give my grandchildren a safe place. Another reason that and actually this is reason number 3. Number 1 was that I wanted to spend more time with family and friends. And number 2 was my youngest son living farther away because he used to live closer and then he ended up moving away. And that was really hard. And I can hardly talk about it without getting tears in my eyes. But anyway, he is closer now and makes me so happy. No, what did I just say? See, this is my aging getting in my way. So, no, he's farther now. He is about 8 hours away. First he moved 4 hours away. Now he's 8 hours away. So he is farther away now. And so it makes me happy that I'm able to go there and spend time with them and that they allow me to do that. So the third reason is my parents aging. My mother has Parkinson's, and my dad is her sole caregiver, and they live about an hour and a half away. So being retired allows me to be available if they need me, and it also allows me to go see them more often. And I can do things for my dad as well as my mom, because I can bake a lasagna for my dad and take it to him so he doesn't have to worry about what he's going to eat for several days. Or I take him his favorite pie. And, as a caregiver, sometimes people forget those caregivers. And he needs these things too. It's aged him a lot. So they are both in their 80s. And I am able to spend more time with them, and I've made a goal that I go out there at least once a month, at least. It should be more than that. And hopefully it will after I get some things caught up at home. The other thing is that number 4, I started a dog boarding business about a year and a half ago, and it's very successful. Very successful side hustle, if you want to call it that. But it was hard to do when I worked certain days and hours of the week, because you had to tell people, well, yes, I can take care of your dog, but I'm going to be gone for 4 hours at work, that day. I only worked part-time, so it wasn't an 8-hour day, but anyway, so being fully retired from having to leave home and go to work has allowed me to run that dog boarding business more and be available to these dogs. I actually have 3 of them right now. So I love dogs. I've always had a dog in my life until the last few years. And I actually don't want my own dog right now, because I want to be able to travel whenever I want and cats are a lot easier to leave with food and water and somebody come in and take care of them every couple of days. So I have the 2 cats and the dogs. I get my dog fix with the dogs that I take care of and my son's dogs. So that's number 4, the dog boarding business, and able to spend more time with that and devote more time to these dogs like I want to do. Number 5 is a biggie for me. Number 5 is being able to take better care of myself. I had really gotten off of the exercise path, and I've been so good at exercising throughout my life that it really wore on me mentally, that I just couldn't seem to get myself to be doing it. So I'm able to go walk every day. I'm not very good at getting it all done yet, but I'm working on it, and go walk every day and get my exercise and take care of myself in other ways as well. It got to where it was getting really hard to go to work, and I dreaded it every time I went. So because I didn't have time to do these things, like my walking that I knew was so important to me. And I'll explain more about that later, because there is another reason that I want to be able to take care of myself better. Of course, we all have lots and lots of reasons. I mean, there are no excuses. There are only reasons for taking care of yourself, but not worrying about going to work really helps me. And my work was from 12 until 5 or whenever, 4 days a week. And that was pretty hard because it's the middle of the day. And so I had to be rush in the morning or rush after work. And getting older, you lose energy anyway. And anyway, it just wasn't working for me. So number 6 was to be more present with my boyfriend. Even going to work part-time, because I did, even though I only worked afternoons for 4 days a week and then every other Saturday, I was tired, so tired all the time. So not working allows me to take a nap if I need it. And so when he gets home from work, my time is his time, and we spend time together. And that has been really nice. Number 7, keeping up with my house. Who doesn't want to keep up with their house? I mean, it's a huge thing. I mean, trying to keep everything clean and groceries in the house and the cooking done so you're not eating out all the time, and which we were doing way too much. And so that was a big one too, being able to keep up with the house. And since then, since retiring, I am decluttering, as they call it, and doing many other things to try to help me out there, which I'll go into that in more detail too in another video. But it's a long process, so I will share my journey with that later on. Number 8, time to garden, growing my flowers. I don't really grow a lot of vegetables anymore. For one thing, we have squirrels, lots of squirrels where we live, and I can't grow tomatoes because they eat the green ones, and they seem to eat everything else. If they're not eating the fruit, they're eating the roots. And but flowers are a huge hobby of mine. So being retired has allowed me to be able to take care of that more, plant my flowers, clean up my yard, which since I live in an older home, the yard was a mess when I bought it. And it's taken some time, but it's getting cleaned up eventually. Hopefully in another season, I'll be able to have it pretty decent. So, number 8, time to garden, grow my flowers. Number 9, travel whenever I want to. So even if it's just traveling for a weekend or even leaving for a whole day, if I want to go on a Wednesday, I can go. My days are mine. I can do whatever I want. So pretty much, there's some things you have to work around, but pretty much my days are mine. So I can travel whenever my little heart desires. And number 10 is the main reason I retired when I did at the age of 62 in August. My birthday is in August, and I was turning 62, and I also had a trip planned to Europe. We were going on a Mediterranean cruise, and I had a new grandbaby being born. And so being retired allowed me those two things. It allowed me to be able to take this European trip and not even worry about taking three weeks off to go. How was I going to get 3 weeks off at work without feeling horrible about it? So that was a huge reason why I decided to retire when I did, even though it sounds pretty minimal to a lot of people, I'm sure. But it wasn't to me, because I feel really bad taking off work. And I thought, well, I'm going to be 62. I can retire. I can take my Social Security, and I have my retirement from when I was teaching, and I can just live off of that. I don't need this job. So I put in my notice that I was retiring in August. I want to know what year it was now, 2023, so that I could go on my European trip. And so that when my grandbaby was born, I could go help out however much I wanted, and I could stay that whole week if I wanted to, or 2 weeks, or however long I wanted to stay, and I didn't have to worry about taking off work. So anyway, that really is probably what triggered me to make the decision to retire when I did, so that I didn't have to ask all the time off of work. No guilt. I'm retiring. And for retirement, I'm going to the Mediterranean, and I'm going to see Italy, and I'm going to see Greece. And it was the trip of a lifetime. And I had a new grandbaby being born, and I was going to go spend time with him. And those two things were so important to me. So those, and probably the one about spending more time with family and friends, those are probably the two most important reasons that I decided to retire at the age that I did. And I have not regretted it, not one little bit. Yes, I had to take a little bit of a cut in my Social Security, but it wasn't significant. It's $300 a month, I think. There's not much you can do with that anymore. I suppose you could buy some groceries, but for a few weeks. But it was worth it to me. So if you're asking yourself, should I do this? Should I not do this? Just think about what's important. So the pros to me retiring early that I have found so far is that my days are mine. And besides an appointment here or there that I have to go to, I can make the decision to get up and clean my house that day, or not clean my house that day, because there's always tomorrow. And so I am really enjoying just having the freedom to choose for the first time in my whole life. I have never had the freedom to choose. Or did we when we were little? I don't know, but I think our parents did it then. And then you had school, and then you had work. So I'm really enjoying this freedom. And so that's a pro, a big pro of being retired. Another one is my dog business. I'm here with the dogs. I'm able to take care of them. I don't take as many dogs as I used to. I used to take care of 5 or 6 dogs at a time. I don't do that anymore. I take care of 1 or 2 dogs at a time. I know I said I have 3 today, but 2 of them are from the same family, and it's a family that I have cared for quite a bit, and so I'm used to the dogs. And actually, all 3 dogs that I have are ones that I've had multiple times. So I look at that too to decide, do I want to take that 3rd dog or not? But having 1 or 2 dogs is so much easier than 5 or 6. So enjoying my dog business is another pro of being retired. Getting my house in order is a huge thing. Like I said, I'm decluttering. It's feeling so good. So that's another pro to being retired, younger. But mostly it's the time I spend with my family, my friends, my boyfriend. I mean, he has a job where he's pretty much can take off work whenever he wants. So if there's something we want to go do for a week, we just go do it. If we want to go do it for a couple days, we just go do it. My parents, I've made the goal of once a month. Hopefully I see them more than that. My friends, I have a group of friends that we meet once a month for lunch or breakfast or whatever. And then I have other friends that I'll meet occasionally to do different things with. So I'm really glad that I'm able to be here for them and my children and my grandchildren and my granddogs. I take care of my granddogs too. So anyway, those are all pros of being retired. And they do make me want to cry because it's something I've always wanted, and now I have it. So some cons, there's only one con that I can think of, and that's the financial end of it. I have less money coming in, but this is the only one I can think of that makes a difference for the negative, is the financial end. And I know it's a big one, but I do have the side hustle of boarding the dogs. So that side hustle brings in a lot of extra that helps out a whole lot. And most of us have some talent that we can do as a side hustle. I set my own hours. I mark off any day I can't do it. So when I want to go on those trips, I just mark those days off. I'm going to take care of my grandson. I just mark those days off. And I don't take any dogs those days. So anyway, that's the only con I can think of, is the financial end of it. And the dog boarding business has helped a lot with that. So come up with a side hustle if that is one of your issues, one of the negatives for you in retiring. In conclusion, I'd like to say, if you are trying to make a decision if you should retire sooner rather than later, I encourage you to make a list of reasons, of the pros and cons of why you would do it and why you would not do it. What would be the pros of that? What would be the cons of that? Why would you want to continue to work? Why do you not want to continue to work? I read a book, and this book, something she said in this book, and I don't know why this really hit me, but it did, because even though we all think about this in some way, it was reading it in this book that really made a difference with me. And it's this book right here. It's called I Know I Should Exercise, But, I said I was having trouble with exercising. This is by Diana Hill and Katie Bowman. 44 Reasons We Don't Move and How to Get Over Them. 44 Reasons We Don't Move and How to Get Over Them. And what she said in this book was, ask yourself, what do you value the most? So, if I didn't want to go out and exercise, I have to think about, what do I value most? Family. And what do I need to do to make myself present for family? So, what do I value most? Family. Retirement helps me be present for them, as well as exercising. But what do you value most, and what is your why? Think about those things. What do you value the most? And what do you have to do to be there, to be present for what you value? And no matter what your decision is, best wishes to you in making your decision. It's not an easy one for many reasons. We all have our own reasons, and it's not an easy one for many, many reasons. It took me a long time, probably a year, to figure it out, maybe more than that, because as a teacher, I was going to retire at 58 until divorce. And then I ended up working 4 more years. Yeah. So no matter what you do, most of all, no matter what decision you make, remember to keep on shining. Have a good day.